This guitar class that I'm bringing to Musician Institute is basically my approach to guitar and to improvisation and to music in general. So it's a lot of material that you can kind of digest fast or slow, but it's stuff that you can develop over the years and get a lot of benefit from. And I think it's also really fun and easy. So on this lesson, we're going to talk about minor chords, minor scales, and basically the minor world. So as I explained in the previous lesson, there's only 3 chords in the world. There's a major chord, minor chord, and a dominant chord. So now with a minor chord. Minor chord is anything with a flat 3. Can be a, let's talk about D minor. Minor 3, major 7 sharp 5, minor 3, 7 flat 5, minor 3 sus flat 5. It's all minor as long as it's got a flat 3. So now there's all these different ways of us to color the chord, meaning use all these different scales that have different sounds. Now with a minor chord, in the minor world, there's actually plenty of minor scales that can be used. There's melodic minor, harmonic minor, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian. So you have to realize that each of those scales will color the minor chord and give it a different sound. So I want to just talk about the most basic one right now, which is the melodic minor. Now the melodic minor is basically a major scale with a flat 3. Let's do it at D minor. So I'm going to just show a couple of those shapes of the D minor. So let's just take this scale and do the jump in thirds. Back. Okay, so in this lesson, I'm going to talk about dominant. So remember, we're talking about the 3 worlds, major, minor, and dominant. So now we're up to the last one, and the most important one, to my opinion. So dominant chord is anything with a flat 7 and a major 3rd. It could be anything like G7, 13, sharp 5, flat 5, flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, 4, sharp 5, flat 9, any of that, that's all dominant chords, as long as it's got a 7 and a major 3rds. The last dominant scale that I want to talk about is the altered scale. Now, there's a few ways of looking at the altered scale. One way that you might know is if we have a G7 chord, you're going to look at it as playing A flat melodic minor from the 7th degree. So it'll be the 7th mode of A flat melodic minor, which is totally correct. But let me give you another angle on what is an altered scale to me. I look at an altered scale as a mix of a diminished scale and a whole tone scale together. So the first 4 notes of a diminished scale will be G, G sharp, B flat, and B. And then from here we're going to go whole tone to the 1. So it'll be C sharp, D sharp, F, and the 1. So what's happening for me with an altered is diminished, whole tone, diminished, whole tone, diminished, whole tone. Okay, on this lesson, I would like to talk about directional playing, which I think is a very, very important thing in guitar, especially because we have the neck and there's different directions that we can play over the neck. I guess the first one is playing vertically, which is playing over the positions of the guitar. You know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever positions you're at. The other direction is horizontally, which is really, really important, where you really open up the neck horizontally. There's a way to play backwards on the neck also, which is just a cool way to kind of get some new ideas and stuff. And there's also, I call it octave displacement, but what it really is it's playing really big intervals from high string to low string and not be worried about if you're gonna hit them or not. So now let's go for the next one, which is playing horizontally on the neck and opening the neck wide. So that would be 4-note per string. So the thing to understand about 4-note per string is you're always gonna slide the first finger. So the first finger always leads. So if we're gonna play F major now, this is gonna be slide, 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 and then backwards the same thing. First finger slide, slide, slide. So what happens now is I can get from here to here really quick because the slide of the first finger that leads. Okay, on this lesson, I want to talk to you about triads. And I want to talk about the options of playing around the triads, meaning playing around the half a step below or above a triad. So the first thing we need to understand is what triads do we have available for us. So there's only a few actually, there's only 4. There's a major triad, let's do everything on G, okay? So there's a G triad, so 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3. Major triad, correct? Then next triad is a minor triad, 1 flat 3 for 5, yeah? So 1 flat 3 5. The next triad we have is a diminished triad, which is going to be 1 flat 3 flat 5, which is going to be this. Yep, diminished triad. And then the last triad we have is an augmented triad, which is 1 3 sharp 5. Now, once we got those triads covered all over the neck, the next thing we want to get into is the concept of half a step above and half a step below. So the first thing is to just, we'll do everything just on a major to make it easier. Is let's take a major triad, 1 3 5 in G. And now we're going to play half a step before each note. So it will be. I've been asked a lot over the years how I write, and there's no easy answer. The answer is whatever inspires you, you have to grab. 90% of the tunes I ever wrote that I record on my records, they're all groove-based. So, for example, a song like Steroids got this kind of James Brown beat. So the song itself is just like a funk tune. And then the drums are playing like this kind of a James Brown backbeat. The next concept is using existing forms. Now that means that you can use a standard, you can use a song, you can use anything that 12-bar blues, rhythm changes, Britney Spears songs, whatever you like. Another song that I wrote that was based off a Thelonious Monk tune is I wrote a song called Epistrophunk that was based off Epistrophe by Thelonious Monk, this tune. And on and on. So what I did is I took the chords of the tune, and basically that was my frame of work. And then it goes to. So when I was improvising, I was thinking about that, but when I was writing a melody, first thing was I had to come up with a drum groove and a bass line to inspire me to write. So I put some kind of funky drum beat, and my bass drum was like. Then you go to D. If I go back to Monk. That's the bass line. So you see, once you have a drum groove going on with a bass line, it started to be easier to write because you already have the frame of the tunes that is already the form of the song. So I came up with something like. Then it goes to D. Now I know it doesn't sound like anything like Epistrophe, but that's what inspired me. I had that bass line and the drum groove, and I had those chords and the color of that song. So I basically used some of those chord changes and the form itself to write my ideas on top of that.